Well, good morning. For those of you who are joining us this morning, we are excited to have two of my mentors, two of my favorite people in ministry. I have Ken Cash, who is on staff at the New Life Church in New Bern, North Carolina, and of course, many of you know Dr. Bruce Barnes, who is the State Promotional Director for the State of Virginia Free Will Baptist Churches. And we just wanted to come this morning and talk a little bit about what they're doing and sort of give some updates and some ideas about their ministries and what's going on during these COVID-19 days. Ken has been a longtime friend, and for several years. We go all the way back to the Woodbine Christian Academy days back in the early 80s. Where he was the youth pastor and I was a junior, senior there, graduated from Woodbine Christian Academy there in Nashville. And then I've had the privilege of having both of his daughters serve on our staff. And Jeremy and Rebecca Huff are on our staff now. And of course, Ed Good and his daughter, Ken's daughter, Rachel, Ed's the pastor at the First Church in Richmond there. And Ken, we're glad to have you today and excited. I know you're here not primarily for this. This sort of came at the last minute, but Ken is here. He is a new grandfather and grandfather for the first time. Right. And Hayden Kennedy Huff was born this past week here in Chesapeake, and we're excited for Ken and Jane. But Ken, just wanted to talk to you about, I know we've shared a lot of things with our people here, and I hope more people are watching than just our church folks, so this is an opportunity to sort of give the message of your heart and what God is doing in yours and Jane's life. But Ken and Jane are planning on going to Bulgaria as missionaries, and so Ken, I just wanted you to share with us this morning a little bit about how you came to the conclusion of, why Bulgaria, and so share your heart a little bit about how the Lord took you from pastoring there in Trinity in Greenville, North Carolina, to calling you to the mission field in Bulgaria.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you, Jay, for the opportunity, and it's a pleasure to be here. And by the way, we're very excited about being grandparents, so thank you for that as well. Jane and I, we will celebrate our 38th wedding anniversary in October, Lord tarries. And we are both first-generation believers. I was saved by my bivocation pastor in Indiana, and Jane was a bus kid in Loudondale, West Virginia, and we both came to know Christ. First generation, we're trying to figure it out and grow, and God led us both to Free Will Baptist Bible College, Welch, at that time, and just, thankful that God brought our paths together. We've had the privilege now of serving our Lord in full-time ministry over 30 years. And we both have a passion to see the gospel go out. We both have a passion to be able to share the good news freely with as many people as we can. And so over the last 12, 13 years, we've had the privilege of partnering with Tim and Lydia Autry in Bulgaria. We met them as they were here, gaining support to be able to go for the very first time. We had the privilege of sending the very first team, a group of men from our church, to be able to go help them when they first started. And over that 13-year span, I've had the privilege of being in Bulgaria on 6 different occasions. And it's a country of 7 million people, less than 2% evangelical. And God just began to break our heart. And every time we would go, you could just see the darkness, good people, amazing people, but just did not know the good news of salvation. And God just continued to grip our heart every time we go. 2 years ago, had the privilege of sitting down with Tim and Lydia, and we just asked them, what do you see as next for you guys? What's your vision? And he just said that we need a seasoned couple. That was his kind way of saying I need an old couple to be able to come alongside this young team, to be able to encourage them, let them stay the course and not get discouraged and go home. One of the things we're excited about is he wanted someone to come and to begin to develop a Bible Institute to where we can begin to train the Bulgarian believers to do the work of the ministry there in the 4 churches and also 2 mission works that are already have started. Also, just share the gospel freely. I enjoy people, and I love being able to share the good news of what God's done in my life, and to be able to do that with Bulgarian people. And then just to continue the work that God is doing, an amazing work there. Like I say, every time we go, you fly into the capital city of Sofia, beautiful city. You come out of the city going to our destinations, and about 45 minutes out of the city, you're going through these amazing mountains that remind Jane and I of West Virginia. And there's this beautiful valley and this huge city in that valley. And every time we go through, I am reminded, I asked him the first time I came through, tell me about that city. And he said there is 0 gospel witness there. And there is nobody in that vast city telling them about the Lord and coming to know the Lord in a personal way. And I guess for us that we have been so freely given the gospel, it just breaks our heart. And so our desire is to go. I'm 58 years old. One of the passions of our heart is from Job 42:12. And it said, and the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than the beginning. And we are begging God in this 4th quarter for us that we would be able to do ministry and add to the kingdom, and God would use us in a way to see many come to know the Lord in this season more than any other time of our ministry. So that's just kind of our heart, and we're excited about the opportunity to go.
So you were getting ready to raise money, and all of a sudden COVID-19 hits. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit, give us an update, Brother Ken, about how this coronavirus context has affected your plans, and what do you see happening here in the next few months?
For us, we started our training with the mission that we were approved through IM beginning of the year. And so we came out and just excited. We have a lot of connects being in ministry as long as we have in Eastern North Carolina and in Southern Virginia. And it's just been a blessing that so many pastors already scheduled. We were booking well into the fall. And we got to February, had a great month, great support month, and just excited about how quickly things were progressing. And then second week of March, we just hit a brick wall. And so the month of March, we just saw it just stop. We've had to postpone and reschedule to date around 16 to 18 services that we just haven't been able to have. But the flip side of that is because of God's people and the generosity of God's people, Jane and I have developed what we're calling our Barnabas team, and we're asking individuals to come alongside. We have several churches that are going to put us in budget, excuse me, but we still need that individual base. And so we've worked hard during this time of sitting at home, connecting with people that know us and we know them, and inviting and asking them to pray about joining our Barnabas team, which is looking for 65 individuals or families that will financially support us, that will prayerfully support us, and then just like Barnabas, come alongside and encourage us. And so we've seen great success even while we're waiting, developing that Barnabas team and individuals coming alongside. So that's been a blessing.
So as far as the timeline of you getting to Bulgaria, has that changed, or is that still on the same course?
I think great question, because to be honest, we don't know what this delay of the services has done. We were feeling strongly and really believe the Lord's going to enable us to expedite our funding to where we can get the field in basically about a year, which is for many of the new missionaries about half the time. And so we are targeting January of 21 as our departure date. Right now we're still targeting that time, believing that as what we're watching God's people do, coming alongside supporting us, we still believe we're on target with that. So right now we're still seeing God blessing. churches. We've even done, I had the opportunity of doing a couple of online mission services that has been a blessing, and those churches have come alongside. So right now, we still feel like January of 21 is still our target date.
Great. Before I turn to Dr. Barnes, Brother Ken, what is, just briefly share, what is your greatest prayer need right now? How can people pray for you? If you had something specifically that you think people could really join together and pray for you concerning, the mission in Bulgaria and your plans, what would you ask people to pray for?
Wisdom, as we're balancing a lot of things at this stage of our lives. We're new grandparents, and so knowing that that's a dynamic that we'll be saying goodbye to our grandson before he turns 1, and just my wife has her mother is advanced in some issues with dementia, and the care for her is difficult. So there's a lot of family things involved in that, but then just also that we have wisdom as we continue to go through these days of balancing life every day with what we know God's leading us to do a year from now, or less than that now, and just preparing our heart as we go, that we just want to we just want to be used of the Lord significantly, however that looks. And I guess the prayer request would be the wisdom, the sensitivity, that we're just going to be obedient, and so that the Lord can maximize in us what he wants to do.
Amen. Well, thank you, Brother Ken. And let me just mention, Brother Ken was supposed to be with us here at Great Bridge in May for a service, and we have postponed that until the latter part of September. And we, for those of you that are part of our academy, we have combined that now with a few days of revival and spiritual emphasis week for our students. And then also we have adopted Brother Ken and Jane as our foreign missionary, our IM missionary, for the rest of 2020 and 2021. And we'll say more about that. But even online, our online giving, you can go. They're mentioned there, or they're listed there, that you can give to their account. And I know some of you are already doing that, and we certainly appreciate it. And I know that Brother Ken and Jane do as well. Well, Dr. Bruce Barnes, our Virginia Free Will Baptist State Promotional Director. Dr. Barnes, I know Ken and I go back to the 80s. I was trying to think of maybe the first time we met, but I could not remember when we met. But I know it's been many years ago, and I think it was probably through my time at college, and when you were at Southeastern, and then maybe even before that. We've known each other now for a good number of years, and you and Miss Debbie, and we certainly are appreciative of your friendship. And it's just to say, I was telling Brother Ken and Dr. Barnes, it's been a privilege to have Dr. Barnes in the church here at Great Bridge. Been here even before I came, but since I've been the pastor, he's been a friend, he's been a confidant, he's been a mentor and an advisor. And he might not want me to say all that, because then he'd have to take credit for maybe anything that I do. So I guess I could say you can blame him if there's something you don't like. No, I'm kidding. He's been a great friend. But one of the things that I love about Dr. Barnes, he is, in this role that he has, he is a pastor to pastors. And, I'm learning more and more just watching him and listening to him and being on some of the boards of the state. This man works hard. There's a lot of hard work, a lot of prayer, a lot of counsel that he gives. And so Dr. Barnes, my desire today is for you just to sort of give us an idea of what you do as a Virginia State Promotional Director, and then more specifically, we'll come back and talk about maybe some of the things that have gone on during this COVID-19 situation. But give us a little bit of background and some of the things that you do and some of the ministries you have with being the promotional director.
Okay. Well, I know when I first took this position some years ago, trying to explain what a promotional director is, I found that nobody knew. And so I had laughingly use the idea, well, what does a promotional director do? Well, I'm a gopher. And I use that in the positive way, because that's what I wanted this office to be from the very beginning, is a service-oriented office. I think apart from us being able to provide something for our pastors and our churches to come alongside them and help them do what they do, this is just a show. And so the service aspect, and I'll have to say I'm very thankful for the executive board. They've given me kind of an open hand to develop the office the way that I felt. They've been along with it all along and have made the decisions to go that direction. But the things that we've done have focused in on what can this office do to help our churches and help our pastors. And you know, one of the most important ones is the one you mentioned, that's being a pastor to pastors. Sometimes a pastor just needs somebody that he can talk to, that can give advice, but at the same time pray for him, help him in the way that a church member would want a pastor to hold those things in confidence and to pray with and to help them. And of anything that I probably enjoy in this office the most, that's it. Now, you know, we've developed some programs along the way. Obviously, the one that, of course, we do that here at Great Bridge, the Grace Outreach Program. One of the questions I had asked early on when I first took the office was, I asked the pastors across the state, what can the office do? What do you feel like you need the most help in? And hands down, it was in the areas of evangelism. What can we do to reach out better? And so from really the response of our pastors has come the outgrowth of the program that we developed, which is Grace Outreach. And of course, that's been numbers of years now in development. We have the Grace Outreach Program that we're now making available all across the denomination and even across denominations. And so, my thing is trying to interact. When I go to association meetings, I'm there just to give support. They need advice. And I'm finding that more and more of our associations and pastors are calling me to the side and say, at least what's your opinion about how we should handle this? Mm-hmm. And if they have a question that they're not sure where to find the answer, I said, well, let me run that down for you. And, you know, so there's a lot of things behind the scenes that I do to be that answer person, that gopher. Mm-hmm. When they need it, I'm going to help find what they need and get back with them with that. Mm-hmm. And I think that I'm seeing that pastors more and more are finding that to be a valuable asset.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about how, well, a couple of things. What are some opportunities that you've been able to share? I know, you know, I know that you have developed this Bible study online for Revelation, some other things. What are some things that, some other resources that are available, that you've made available through the website, those kind of things during this COVID-19? And then how has the COVID-19 context affected your personal ministry as the state promotional director?
Yes, well, as a ministry arm of the promotional office, this has been about 4 or 5 years ago, we had the idea of creating what we call Grace Mission, which was to begin to utilize technology in ways that perhaps Free Will Baptist have not always used. And that was going to be the main focus of how can we use what's available to us to expand our preaching and promotion of the gospel. So as an outgrowth of that came Grace Outreach, but then we also have now videos and things like that, studies, Bible studies and things that we're producing out of our video studio. But when it comes now to the COVID-19, it's just like for all of us in ministry, this thing throws a wrench in the works of what we thought we were supposed to do during that particular time, and it has for us as well. But the one thing I have shared with other pastors, and I want to share here, and this is the spirit that I want to keep in what I'm doing, is none of this is caught God by surprise. That's right. The gospel still needs to go out. And what I want to do is not look at what we've lost, but look at the opportunities for right now that we have. Mm-hmm. Yes. And so we're having to do things differently. We can't meet in the sanctuary right now the way that we had. Okay, what will we do? Mm-hmm. I want to look at it from a positive standpoint, looking forward to it getting back. But that, if we're just waiting for that to happen, to minister, then we're only about one aspect of the kingdom. And so anyway, we've tried to reach out in new ways. And, you know, I had made big plans for the National Association this summer, and our Grace Outreach booth and all the things we were going to do. Well, that went down the tubes. But again, what we've done, we've kind of reassessed, even with Grace Outreach. How are we going to promote this? How does God want us to use it right now? And so even with what I'm doing in my weekly ministry, it's a little different than what I have done, but I wanted to focus in on other things that would, one, kind of gain a little bit of attention, not on itself, but to minister, which have been some of the music videos and things I've done. But the Revelation study, I knew that there'd be a lot of people that would probably be interested in that. And so I'm spending a little bit more time on the development of that, getting those videos up so that people have something to connect to. It's not about what we're getting back, but it's a reminder we're still here, we're still ministering. And then we've also, as you know, Pastor, we have had these Tuesday pastors' fellowship and prayer time. And it's been mainly for our Free Will Baptist pastors here in the state, but we actually have some others that are coming in now, which is fine. But we get together and we start off with prayer, and then we talk about some of these different things like this. And again, it's just something else I can do to bring us together for those who are interested, and we can talk about those things to get help.
Sure. You heard Dr. Barnes mention the plans for the national, sort of getting a wrench thrown in them. Our National Association will actually be virtual this year, be online, and I believe it's July 18th and 19th and
20th and 21st.
20th and 21st, and there'll be more information that we'll put out about that. And maybe some of you that have never been able to go to a National Association, now you'll get to at least see a little bit of a shell of what we do there. And I think the preaching and some of the breakout sessions and things will still go on, and we look forward to that. But that reminds me, Dr. Barnes, of this is getting close to state meeting time, Virginia state meeting time. So just sort of briefly tell us what the state meeting looks like now, and you know, what that will entail and how people can tune in.
Okay. Yes, normally our state meeting would have been June 18th and 19th this year, but because of COVID-19 and some of the projected restrictions and concerns people would have even coming a couple of months from now, our executive board met and decided that we would go and present a virtual one online through live streaming. And so what that's going to mean, on Thursday, June 18th, we're actually going to have 3 live streamed sections of our state meeting online. It'll be on a YouTube channel. We'll be getting out all of the information about how to tune into that. But what we're going to do is there's going to be a special mission service probably on Thursday morning. We'll actually give reports and things on video that would have normally been given our business. Things are not going to be lengthy, but we'll still present the information, have all that information online where people can download. But even though people are not going to be able to vote, the executive board will be able to, the executive board, according to our bylaws, can operate for the state when the state is not in session. We don't really have any, we didn't foresee this in our bylaws to put a statement like this in, but I think we probably will after this year. But we had decided that the executive board will make the decisions, but when these reports and things go out on that Thursday afternoon stream, any of our pastors or who are standing delegates, and those who are standing delegates is by means of being deacons and such, will be able to give input. We're going to have an email address where they can send in their input, and all of the information that comes in will be shared with all of our executive board members so that when any decision is made, it's going to be reflective of the concerns or statements or other things that our standing delegates have made. And so that way they can still have an input. And then on the Thursday night, we're still going to have a really big service. We had planned to have Dr. Eddie Moody, our National Association Executive Director, to preach this year, but he has been in contact with him. He's still going to preach. He's going to present that, And he'll be speaking on that Thursday night. We're going to have some other things there. We're going to share some things about Grace Outreach as well, and some music and other things that will be presented on that Thursday night. So Thursday night, June 18th, we'll get out a lot more detail on when all of this is set up and the exact schedule. I'm still waiting to hear back from just a few more before we put out the actual schedule, but that'll be taking place here pretty soon.
Well, Dr. Barnes, before we close this today, tell us, as far as us praying for you and the people watching and who will watch this over the next several days, how can we join in, and really pray? What would be something you would ask us to really pray for as it relates to what God has you doing in your life right now?
I don't want this to sound like that I don't think that we're in need of prayer. We just in prayer in general. I tell you where my heart is, and that's for our pastors in our states. If people in our state, I would just call and ask for people to pray for our pastors, that they would stay encouraged, that the members of our churches across the state would stay encouraged as we try to even get back to some level of opening back up again, that I'm hoping that we'll be taking this quite seriously and cautiously, in the sense of still being concerned about what could be the results of a second wave of the COVID-19. So I guess what I'm saying, Debbie and I are doing really well. We can always use the support, but my heart goes out where our pastors are, where our churches are, to get back. So let's just pray for them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that certainly sounds like the heart of a pastor to pastors. Mm-hmm. And let me just mention, I did mention the way that you can support Brother Ken and Jane to Bulgaria in the financial arena. But we also support Dr. Barnes and the state office, and he is also listed on our online giving portal. And we, as he said, they can always use the financial support, the prayer support, and we have also adopted Dr. Barnes and the Virginia State Promotional Office as one of our missionaries. And so when general funds come in, we split it between an IM missionary. Dan and Cammie Houghton are our North American mission. The Project Vermont are our North American missionaries, and then Dr. Barnes is our local or our state missionary. And when it comes in undesignated, we divide it. But then you can also designate it to one of these, and we hope that you will consider giving this year to missions. For those of you at Great Bridge Church, the first Sunday of every month, we've tried to establish that being designated as Mission Sunday. And so if that helps you to remember our missionaries and Dr. Barnes and the office here, the Virginia Promotional Office, we hope that you'll give, but you can give anytime. It's there, it's very easy to find, and if you'll continue to watch and listen and read the reports and the things that we send out, you'll be able to easily establish a method of giving and a means of giving. And so, Brother Ken, Dr. Barnes, thank you for joining this morning, and we look forward. I know this is actually going to go out first tonight, but we hope that those of you that watch it tonight, will share it, and that people will watch it over the next several days and be able to just stay informed and updated. And again, as Dr. Barnes said, concerning our state meeting and other things coming up in the state of Virginia, there'll be plenty of opportunity to be informed, and we will not keep you out of the loop, and so you'll be able to join in. So thank you guys. We appreciate it, and God bless you for tuning in, and we look forward to the next time we can be together. God bless you.